All right, thanks, guys. The Redskins take on the Titans. That is this Saturday, 4:30 Eastern kickoff in Tennessee. The Titans are minus 10, totals 37. 64% are leaning Tennessee, 72% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Titans are minus 560 on the money line. Now, both teams are 8-6 against the spread overall for the season. Having said that, Tennessee 4-2 against the spread at home, 2-0 against the spread, taking on teams allowing 21 to 25 points per contest. This Titans offense is putting up 23 points per contest at home. They're running for 128 yards rushing at home as well. Meanwhile, their defense is allowing just 17 points per contest at home and just 234 yards passing. Now, Washington, they're on their fourth quarterback of the season. They've been injury-riddled all year. Their defense is allowing 22 points per game and 116 yards rushing on the ground. Washington has failed to cover in 3 out of their last 6 as the official road underdog. They're also just 1-4 straight up in their last 5. Now, scoring-wise, Washington is 5-2 to the under on the road this season, 80% to the under, taking on teams averaging less than 21 points per contest. Washington's also 3-1 to the under on the road, taking on teams allowing 21 points or less per contest. Meanwhile, on the Tennessee side of things, they're 8-6 to the under overall for the year. I'm thinking about a 24-10 score in this one. So with all that said and done, give me Tennessee minus 10 and the under 37 total points in that one. Next game, Ravens-Chargers, 8:20 Eastern kickoff Saturday night. The Chargers open 5.5 down to minus 4.5, totals at 45. 58% are leaning Chargers, 66% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Chargers are minus 225 for some money line cash. Now, both teams have successfully covered the number in 3 out of their last 4 ball games. That said, though, Los Angeles is 5-2 against the spread in their last 7. They're 5-1 straight up in their last 6 at home. The Chargers are putting up 28 points per contest at home. They're also throwing for 301 yards passing in the friendly confines. They're running for 105 yards rushing at home as well. Meanwhile, on the Baltimore side of things, they're just 3-4 straight up on the road this season, 1-2 straight up in their last 3 away from home. Baltimore historically is just 7-14 straight up in their last 21 on the road, dating back the past couple of seasons. They're also just 2-4 against the spread in their last 6, taking on the Chargers if you're into historical trends. Now, total-wise, Baltimore's 2-1 to the under in their last 3, 4-3 to the under in their games away from home. Meanwhile, LA's 4-3 to the under at home, 5-3 to the under in their last 8. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the hook, buy it down, and take the Chargers minus 4 and the under 45 total points in that one. Next game I have for you, it is going to be Atlanta, Carolina. 1 o'clock kickoff in Carolina. The Panthers are minus 3.5. No total on this game as of yet. Now, Atlanta's 5-1 straight up in their last 6, taking on Carolina. Meanwhile, the Panthers 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 at home, taking on the Falcons. So both teams have some bright spots when it comes to the number. Here's where we break it down a little bit more. Carolina's 4-2 against the spread at home this season, 3-2 against the spread as the official home favorite. This Carolina offense is putting up 31 points per contest on their home turf. They're also rushing for 175 yards at home, and they're 3-2 against the spread as the official home favorite. Now, Atlanta, they're just 1-5 against the spread on the road this season. They're covering 20% of their games as the official Vegas underdog. This Atlanta defense is allowing 28 points per contest away from home. They're also allowing 137 rushing yards away from home as well. The Falcons are covering just 29% of their games, taking on teams allowing more than 25 points per contest. Very bizarre stat there. And scoring-wise, Atlanta's 5-2 to the over, taking on teams allowing more than 25 points per contest. They're 8-6 to the over for the season. Meanwhile, on the Carolina side of things, they're 83% to the over in their games at home. 4-1 to the over, taking on teams averaging more than 25 points per contest. So with all that said and done, I'm going to take Carolina minus 3 after buying the half a point, and I'll probably end up leaning toward the over if that line opens up within reason. If that's an advantageous line on the total, I'll probably end up leaning toward the over in that one. Next game, Bills, Patriots, 1 o'clock kickoff in New England. The Patriots open 10.5 up to minus 12.5. Total open 45 up to 45 and a hook. 65% are leaning Buffalo, 56% shaded toward the to the over. Buffalo's plus 550 on the money line. New England's minus 800 on the money line themselves. Now both teams are just 2-3 against the spread in their last 5. But Buffalo's been just a little bit worse against the spread. They're 5-9 against the spread overall for the year. 0-3 ATS in their last 3. This Buffalo offense is putting up just 15 points per contest away from home. They're also throwing for just 153 yards passing on the road. Buffalo's also 3-4 against the spread away from home. 5-7 against the spread when catching the points. They're also covering just 43% of their games as the official road underdog. Now, New England on the other side, they're 5-1 against the spread at home this season. Very good against the number at Gillette Stadium. New England's also 8-6 against the spread when laying the points, and they're covering 83% of their ball games as the official home favorite. New England is 8-3 straight up in their last 11. Their offense is putting up 34 points per contest in Foxborough. Now, New England is 3-1 against the spread, taking on teams under 400. They're also 2-0 against the spread in their games that kicked off at the current posted total. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the hook, buy it down, and take New England minus 12 in the over 45.5 in that one. All right, next game, it is going to be Cincinnati at Cleveland. 1 o'clock kickoff in Cleveland. The Browns open the betting as the 6.5 point favorite. Total's 46.5 down to 46. Once again, Cleveland minus 6.5, total at 46 even. 59% are leaning Cincy, 77% shaded toward the under. The Bengals are plus 235, Cleveland's minus 275. Now both teams have successfully covered the number in their last couple of games. Both teams 2-0 against the spread in their last 2 respectively. That said, though, this Cleveland team has been just a little bit better against the number than Cincinnati. The Browns are 9-5 against the spread overall for the year. They're covering 71% of their games at home. This Cleveland offense is rushing for 136 yards per game at home. They're 4-2-1 straight up on their home turf. Meanwhile, on the Cincy side of things, their defense is allowing 31 points per contest on the road, 2-4 straight up in their games away from home. Cincy's also just 4-5 against the spread when catching the points. They're covering just 33% of their games that were played at the current posted total. And scoring-wise, Cincy's 9-5 to the over for the season, 4-2 to the over on the road. Cincy's 80% to the over in their games that kicked off at the current posted total. Cleveland themselves are 5-4 to the over, taking on teams allowing more than 25 points per contest. They're also 4-3 to the over in their games at the current posted total. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the 0.5 point, buy it down, and take Cleveland minus 6, getting the job done at home, in the over 46 total points in that one. Next game, Packers, Jets. 1 o'clock kickoff in the Meadowlands. The Packers open 3, down to minus 1.5. Totals at 45. Green Bay is taking 59% of the consensus. 82% is shaded toward the under. The Jets are plus 110. Green Bay is minus 130. Both teams have been very bad in spots this season. Green Bay just 1-6 ATS on the road. Meanwhile, the Jets are just 1-3 ATS as the official home underdog. That said, the Jets have just been a little bit worse in spots. They're covering just 29% of their games on their home field. 4-7 against the spread as the underdog. This New York defense is allowing 29 points per contest on their home field. They're also allowing 131 yards rushing at home as well. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, this Green Bay offense is still putting up 24 points per contest. They're rushing for 107 yards on the ground per game, and that's with no running back. Green Bay does have some marquee covers over the likes of the Falcons, Seattle, Miami, and the LA Rams. Green Bay is also 4-2 to the over in their games at the current posted total, 3-2 to the over, taking on teams allowing more than 25 points per contest. Meanwhile, on the Jets side of things, they're 71% to the over at home, 80% to the over, taking on teams averaging 21 to 25 points per contest. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the 0.5 point, buy it down, and take Green Bay minus 1 in the over 45 total points in that one. Next game, Houston, Philadelphia. Houston, Philadelphia. Did I pass it? There we go. Texans at the Eagles, 1 o'clock Eastern kickoff. Houston's -1, totals 45. Philly's 4-3 straight up at Lincoln Financial Field. Houston 5-2 straight up on the road. So both teams have been pretty good in their respective locations for this game. You got to keep in mind on the Houston side of things, Lamar Miller's questionable with an ankle. Dunn is questionable with a foot. Kuti is questionable with a hammy. But Houston's been very good against the number in certain spots this season. They've successfully covered the number in 3 out of their last 4. They're also 6-2 against the spread in their last 8. Their offense is putting up 25 points per contest, and they're rushing for 131 yards on the ground. Meanwhile, on the Philly side of things, they've been horrible at Lincoln Financial Field against the spread. They're just 2-5 against the spread at home this year, 4-9 ATS in their last 13. This Philly offense is putting up just 21 points per game on their home field. Now, total-wise, 6 out of Philly's 7 games at home stayed under the total. They're also 6-2 to the under in their last 8 games at any location. Houston, on the other side, their defense is allowing just 20 points per contest and 88 yards rushing on the ground. So with all that said and done, I'm going to take the road favorite in this one. Give me Houston -1 and the under 45 total points in that one. Next game, Jags, Dolphins. 1 o'clock Eastern kickoff in Miami. The Dolphins open 4, now -5. Totals 39.5. 71% are leaning Miami, 60% shaded toward the under. Jacksonville is +195. The Dolphins are -235. Now, both teams have struggled in certain spots this season. Miami's just 2-3 straight up in their last 5. Jacksonville just 1-4 straight up in their last 5 themselves. That said, though, Jacksonville has been just a little bit worse so far this season. They've dropped 9 out of their last 10 straight up. They're also just 1-9 against the spread in those 10 ball games. Jacksonville just 1-5 straight up in their games away from home. They failed to cover in 5 out of their last 6 on the road as well. Jacksonville's putting up just 16 points per contest on the road. They're throwing for just 222 yards passing. Meanwhile, on the Miami side of things, they've been very good at home this season, 6-1 straight up on their home turf. They're covering 86% of their ball games on their home field. So once again, Miami covering 86% of their ball games on their home field. Miami's also 3-0 against the spread when laying the points, 3-0 against the spread as the official home favorite. They're also covering 75% of their games, taking on teams under 400. This Miami offense is putting up 25 points per contest on their home field. Miami's also 5-2 to the over at home. Jacksonville 4-2 to the over on the road. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean Miami -5 and the over 39.5 in that one. Next game I have for you, it is going to be Minnesota-Detroit. Minnesota-Detroit. Let's see if we can find that on the board here. There we go. Vikings at the Lions, 1 o'clock kickoff in Detroit. Minnesota open 4, up to -5.5. Total open 42 and a hook, up to 43.5. 73% are leaning Minnesota, 58% shaded toward the over. Detroit's +205. Minnesota's -245. Both teams are 8-6 against the spread overall for the year. Now, Minnesota, they've been just a little bit worse in certain spots. They're just 2-4-1 straight up in their games away from home. 2-5 against the spread in that same category. This Minnesota defense is allowing 25 points per contest on the road. They're also getting run on. They're allowing 125 yards rushing on the road as well. Meanwhile, on the Detroit side of things, they're 2-0 against the spread in their last couple of ball games, 3-2 against the spread in their last 5. Detroit is 5-4, covering as the underdog, 3-2 against the spread in their games that kicked off at the current posted total. And Detroit is 75% against the spread, taking on teams allowing 21 to 25 points per contest. Now, scoring-wise, this Detroit defense is allowing 26 points per contest at home. They're also 75% to the over in their games that kicked off at the current posted total. Meanwhile, on the Minnesota side of things, they're 67% to the over when the line was 45 or less. They're 5-0 to the under when the line was between 42 and 45 total points. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the hook, buy it up, and take the home team in this one. Give me Detroit +6 and the over 43.5 in that one. Next game, Giants-Colts. Giants-Colts. And that one is right there. Giants at the Colts, 1 o'clock kickoff at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. The Colts are minus 9.5, total open 47, down to 46 and a hook. 62% are leaning Indy, 56% shaded toward the over. The Giants are plus 380, Indy's minus 475. Both teams are 8-6 against the spread overall. Pretty good against the number for both of these squads. That said, though, the Giants are just a little bit better in their respective location. The G-Men are 6-1 against the spread in their games away from home this season, 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 ball games at any location. This New York offense is putting up 26 points per contest on the road. They're also 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 when traveling. Indy, on the other side, they're just 3-4 against the spread at Lucas Oil Stadium this year. They've also failed to cover in 2 out of their last 4, with failures to cover coming against the Jaguars and the Dolphins. Indianapolis is putting up 30 points per contest at home, so even though they haven't been covering, they've certainly been putting up their fair share of points. Once again, they're scoring 30 points per contest at home. They're also running for 116 yards on the ground. Meanwhile, on the New York side of things, they're 2-1 to the over in their last 3, 4-2 to the over in their last 6, 4-3 to the over in their last 7 away from home. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the hook, buy it up, and take the New York Football Giants plus 10 in the over 46.5 in that one. Next game, Bucks, Cowboys. I think that's all the way up top here. There we go. Bucks, Cowboys, 1 o'clock kickoff in Dallas. The Cowboys are minus 7, totals 46. 60% are leaning Dallas, 56% shaded toward the over. The Bucks are plus 255. The Cowboys are minus 310. Now, Tampa Bay has been pretty good catching the points. They're 6-4 against the spread as the official Vegas underdog. Meanwhile, Dallas, very good at home. They're 5-2 against the spread on their home field. Now, when it comes to the trends, Dallas has been just a little bit better than Tampa Bay. The Cowboys are 6-1 straight up at Jerry World. Their defense is allowing just 18 points per contest at home. Dallas is also 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 ball games, 4-1 ATS in their last 5 at home. Are we still on here? And 10-1 straight up in their last 11 at home, taking on Tampa Bay. So if you're into historical trends, Dallas has been very dominant against Tampa Bay at home over the past couple decades. Now, Tampa Bay, they've lost 6 out of their last 7 away from home. They're also just 3-4 against the spread on the road. This Tampa defense is giving up 37 points per contest and 139 yards on the ground. Now, scoring-wise, Tampa is 6-1 to the over in their games away from home. Meanwhile, Dallas, 5 out of their last 7 at home, got over the total as well. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward the Cowboys minus 7 and the over 46 total points in that one. Next game, Bears, Niners. Did I pass it? Bears, Niners. I must have passed it. Oh, there we go. That's going to be in the 4 o'clock slate. Bears, Niners, 4:05 Eastern kickoff in San Fran. Chicago's minus 3.5, total open 43, down to 42 and a hook. 62% are leaning Chicago, 55% shaded toward the under. The 49ers are plus 165. The Bears are minus 190. Both teams are 2-0 against the spread in their last couple of games. Chicago has been just a little bit better overall this season. They are 10-4 against the spread overall for the year, 7-1 against the spread in their last 8. The Chicago offense is putting up 26 points per contest on the road. They're also rushing for 108 yards on the road as well. Meanwhile, the 49ers are just 4-10 straight up overall for the year, 5-9 against the spread in those 14 games. The Niners are just 3-4 against the spread at home, 1-2 ATS, taking on teams over 550, and their defense is allowing 27 points per contest. Now, total-wise, San Fran 4-3 to the over at home, Chicago 4-2 to the over on the road. I'm going to purchase the hook, buy it down, and take Chicago minus 3 and the over 42.5 in that one. Next game, Rams, Cards. 425 in Arizona. The Rams are minus 13.5, totals 47 and a hook. Both teams are just 1-4 against the spread in their last 5. That said, though, Arizona's been putrid this season. They're just 1-6 straight up at home, 3-4 against the spread in that same category. This Arizona offense is putting up just 12 points per contest on their home field. and throwing for 173 yards per game at home. Meanwhile, on the Rams side of things, they've been pretty good on the road this season. They're 5-2 straight up on the road, 8-2 straight up in their last 10 away from home, and their offense is putting up 32 points per contest on the year. Now, scoring-wise, the Rams are 3-0 to the under in their last 3. Arizona 5-2 to the under in their last 7 at home. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the half a point, buy it down, and take the Rams minus 13 and the under 47.5 in that one. Next game, it is going to be Pittsburgh, New Orleans. Very good matchup there on paper. 4:25 Eastern kickoff in the Big Easy. The Saints open 6.5, down to -6. Totals 57 and a hook. 65% are leaning Pittsburgh. The Steelers are plus 220 for some money line cash. New Orleans minus 260. Now both teams very good against the number in certain spots. Pittsburgh's 4-3 against the spread on the road. New Orleans 4-2 against the spread on their home turf. That said, New Orleans has been just a little bit better in many spots when it comes to covering the number. The Saints are 10-3 against the spread overall for the year, 7-3 against the spread when laying the points. The Saints are also 10-1 against the spread in their last 11, a perfect 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 at home. The Saints offense is putting up 38 points per contest on their home turf. They're also throwing for 313 yards passing at home, 111 yards rushing at home. New Orleans is also a perfect 5-0 against the spread, taking on teams over 550. Now Pittsburgh on their side of things, they failed to cover in 4 out of their last 5. They're also 0-3 against the spread in their last 3 on the road. This Pittsburgh defense is allowing 21 points per contest away from home and 103 yards rushing. Now the Steelers 4-1 to the under in their last 5, 5-2 to the under in their games away from home this season. The Saints are 4-0 to the under in their last 4, 2-0 to the under in their last 2 at home. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward the home favorite in this one. Very chalky play here. Give me the Saints minus 6 in the under 57.5 in that one. Next game, Sunday night, primetime, Kansas City at Seattle, 8:20 Sunday night. The Chiefs open 2, now minus 2.5. Total open 54, down to 53. 61% are leaning Kansas City, 60% shaded toward the over. Seattle's plus 110, KC's minus 130. Both teams have been very good against the number in their respective spots. Seattle's 10-4 against the spread overall for the year. Kansas City's 9-5 against the spread on their side of things. Now Kansas City is 5-2 straight up away from home, 6-1 against the spread on the road. This Kansas City offense is putting up 39 points per contest when traveling, 334 through the air, 126 on the ground, both stats on the road. Kansas City's also covering 67% of their games that kicked off at the current total. They're also 5-2 against the spread, taking on teams over 550. Now Seattle's just 1-7 straight up in their last 8, taking on Kansas City, 3-6 against the spread in their last 9 at home, taking on the Chiefs, if you're into historical trends. The Seattle defense is allowing 21 points per contest for the year and 112 yards rushing. Now, total-wise, Seattle is 5-1 to the over in their last 6. Kansas City 6-1 to the over in their last 7 away from home. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the hook, buy it down, and take the Chiefs minus 2 and the over 53 points in that one. All right, next and final game for the show, it is going to be Denver, Oakland, 8:15 in Oakland. The Broncos are minus 2.5, total open 45, down to 44 and a hook. 80% are leaning Denver, 78% shaded toward the over. The Raiders are plus 120, the Broncos are minus 140. Both teams pretty bad against the number in certain spots this season. Oakland's just 5-9 against the spread overall. Denver 6-8 against the spread on their side of things. That said, though, Denver has been a little bit better than Oakland when it comes to location. Denver's 4-3 against the spread on the road, 2-1 against the spread after more than 8 days off. Meanwhile, Oakland 4-8 against the spread when catching the points, 0-4 against the spread in their games that were played at the current posted total. And scoring-wise, Oakland 3-2 to the over when the line was 45 or less. Denver 75% to the over when the line was 45 or less themselves. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the hook, buy it down, and take Denver minus 2 and the over 44.5 in this one.